Okay, and so we have another question before us now. This is a limit question. We're given the limit as x goes to infinity of this. And this looks a little bit complicated, but we can probably figure out something to do with it. So usually when you see something that involves a radical like this, and especially when it's being added or subtracted to something, one strategy that we common implement is that of rationalization, right? And to rationalize something, you basically want to remove that square root, and the way to do that is by multiplying by a conjugate. So the conjugate of this over here would be the square root of x squared plus 6x, and then not minus x, but plus x. Basically, you flip the sign. And this basically gives you a difference of squares. So let's see that in action over here. I'm not going to rewrite limit as x approaches infinity, so I'll just take that as a given, just for the sake of time and space. So we're going to start off with what we have, right? And we can't change anything. So it's important that you don't, just multiply it by the conjugate. You also have to divide by the conjugate, right? And we'll see that's actually not a bad thing. Just for reference, the reason that this doesn't work on its own is because if you plug in infinity, what do you get? You get the square root of infinity squared, which is very hand wavy, but essentially that would be something like infinity minus infinity. Infinity minus infinity, you can't really say, is that going to be positive? Is that going to be negative? Is that going to be zero? You can't be sure, right? And obviously we want a precise answer here. So that's no way to do it. Let's do this instead though. And what do we get here? Well, remember, this is not what we're looking for. We can only multiply it by 1 if we want to keep it the same. So we also have to divide by this. And now this is equivalent to just multiplying by 1. So let's do this, see what we get. And of course, you can just extend the fraction bar to keep it a little neat. And now we'll distribute the top. This is just a difference of squares. So the radical here just gets eliminated. We get x squared plus 6x, and then we have minus x squared, right? Minus x times positive x is just minus x squared, divided by this messy thing over here. It's not that messy actually, so let's just put it in, plus x. Okay, well, what do we have now? We have, well, the x squared and the minus x squared cancel out, so we're just left with 6x divided by all of this. And now I think we've reached a point where we might want to reintroduce that limit notation. So we will go ahead and do just that. We've got the limit as x goes to infinity. So it's, it seems a little better, sure, but we're still not out of the woods yet and not in the clear. So let's see what we can do now. Limit as x equals infinity. Well, let's take a leaf out of our own book. Over here we multiplied by something. Now let's divide by something, right? So let's divide the numerator and denominator by x. What is that going to do for us? So we have 6x divided by x. And we're doing this just because we see an x over here, we see an x over here. Might be some x's here, right? If you divide this by, to divide the denominator by x, you would divide this by x squared because it's within the square root, right? So we're doing, so okay, within the square root, you're doing x squared plus 6x over x squared. The reason we're doing this is because it's within the square root. So that's basically just the same as dividing by x plus x over x. Okay, looks very, very ugly, but obviously we did this for a reason, and the reason is that it's going to simplify things a lot for us. So the numerator is now 6 times x over x, so that's just 6. The denominator here is just going to be 1 plus 6 over x. Is that correct? Yeah, plus 1. And now let's plug in our x goes to infinity. Again, it's not going to be a perfect answer, but that's not what we're looking for. We're just looking for a limit. So when we do that, what do we get? We get 6 divided by 1 plus 6 over infinity. 6 over infinity is going to be a very, very small number. So it's 1 plus a very, very small number. The square root of that is just going to be 1, roughly. So it's 1 plus 1. So that's 6 over 2, and that's 3. And just like that, we finish the question. It wasn't too difficult, but it's definitely not apparent just by looking at the question, right? You can't just say, oh, it's going to be 3. So it's a pretty messy question, and the method that we use is pretty standard. It might not seem like it's going to take you to the right place right away. You do need to do a little bit more work after that, dividing by the x like I showed you in this step over here, but it's not too much more. So hopefully you understand that. If you see another question like this, even if it confuses you at first, hopefully this video will kick in and remind you that it's not too difficult at all, and you've got it well within your toolkit. So thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, if the video was helpful to you, please make sure to subscribe so that it helps me out and you can stay in touch with me to get access to more videos as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.